Hello, good evening, and welcome to Camnet Television Main News. My name is Jeffrey Yambo to present. And our top stories in the news tonight: floods cut off residents of MUMBWA'S KANDESHA area. Effect cost-reflective electricity tariffs to attract more investors, government advised. SCC investigations officer tells court that former Home Affairs Minister Stephen KAMPYONGO was in possession of property way above his earnings. In international news, Morocco increases jail term of migrants by 6 months. And in sports news, Melbourne victory given suspended points deduction following pitch invasion.
From time immemorial, we have had different types of lighting options, from those that can burn down our investments in minutes to those that dig holes in our pockets due to constant replacement and huge consumption of our ZESCO units. Savenda Electric introduces the new and advanced electric bulb with cutting-edge technology of LED that has low power consumption, gives out bright white light, and lasts up to 25,000 hours. Savenda Electric manufactures all types of LED light like plastic LED fluorescent tubes, down lights, ceiling lights, outdoor fittings, and solar street lights made to customer specifications. Let's live on the bright side of life by choosing the wide range of Savenda electric lighting solutions that are available in all leading stores and supermarkets countrywide. For orders, call 0962-642-490 or email jnbunda@savenda.com or pchabula@savenda.com.
Good news, the rains have started. You need to plan your future. Generation wealth is the way to go. Has grafted avocado plants fruiting within 2 to 3 years for sale at only 90 kwacha each, and ordinary avocados at only 45 kwacha each. Contact us on 0979 753010 or 0962 965 883. We are open from 8 hours to 17 hours, Monday to Friday, at Healing Word Ministries International in Ibex Hill, opposite Hilltop Hospital.
Welcome back, and now the news in detail. Residents of MUMBWA'S KANDESHA area have been cut off from accessing their farms, schools and health services from their only clinic following a heavy downpour experienced in the last 48 hours. The District Disaster Management and Mitigation Unit Committee, led by the District Commissioner Namukolo Hayumbu, have toured the area to appreciate the challenge. And Sarah Chilimboi, a resident, has narrated to Camnet TV, stating that the community, including school-going children, are unable to make their way to the other side. She has, however, urged the government to provide an alternative solution to the residents in the area. More in this report.
Rehabilitation of Kandesha Dam, which was washed away by heavy rains in 2020 in Mumbo district of Central Province, has continued to threaten the lives of the local people in the area. Following a heavy downpour experienced in most parts of the country in the last 48 hours, Kandesha community has been cut off from the major crossing points, avoiding them to access their farms and health services from the other side. Mumbo District Commissioner Namukolo Hayumbu, with her entourage from the District Disaster Management and Mitigation Unit Committee, visited the area to appreciate their challenge.
We found that farmers in that community, some farmers are unable to access their fields because there's no crossing point. The same applies to school kids. They are failing to go to school because they cannot cross. There's no crossing point. And we need a dam if we are to save the situation there. The same water from KANDESHA Dam runs down to Chivila Dam, where that is our dam where the Lukanga company gets water, drinking water for the entire district.
And Sarah Chirimboi, a KANDESHA resident, has called on government to come to their aid by providing an alternative solution before lives are lost.
Navuto ya damu yatu ipopitira bana kwenda ku school kulibe kopitira naise kwenda ku magadeni tilibe popitira so kuno nabo ko kumwa manzi tili kumwa manzi ya dot nakuja ku bridge kwenda ku school bana ba school kulibe kopitira ndiye problem ya mene tili nayo ikulu kuno ya manzi KANDESHA damu ya memu kuona ndiye meti nayo problem ikulu yama bridge asemba tikonzira ko che bridge nakuja futi ku KANDESHA bana ba school wagaziwa na popiti.
Mrs. Hayumbu, who is also District Disaster Management and Mitigation Unit Committee Chairperson, has made an assurance to the affected people in the area.
Visual coordinator under DMMU. So far, we'll do our level best to make sure that more damage is not done, and we have alerted the people living near the water bodies to move away, to pave way for water until the situation normalizes. We are on guard.
Majesty, Camnet TV News, MUMBWA.
The University Teaching Hospital, UTH, says it is currently holding 33 unclaimed bodies which have been accumulating from October to December 2022, as no one has come forward to claim them. In an interview, UTH Public Relations Officer Natalie Mashikolo says some of these died in the hospital, while others were picked up in various communities by the Zambia police. The UTH Public Relations Officer adds that the mortuary is also keeping the body of an unidentified man who died in a named lodge in Lusaka, urging those with missing relatives to visit the hospital to check if their relatives are among the bodies. More in this report.
The University Teaching Hospital, UTH, which is Zambia's biggest health facility, is always packed to the maximum as it hosts people with various conditions. While it is always full of visitors who come to see their relatives and loved ones, some die with no one at their side, as they have either been abandoned by relatives who are afraid of bearing funeral costs, or they are so poor that no one bothers about them. Others die in road accidents, crimes in the community, or various diseases. These factors have resulted in a total of 33 unclaimed bodies at the UTH mortuary of people who died between October and December 2022. UTH Public Relations Officer Natalie Mashikolo was speaking to Camnet News.
Of these bodies, we also have one. That case, we really need to find the relatives because it's a case which is it's never happened to us as a hospital. So this man came in on the 11th of November and he was just brought in as a BID and he died from a named guest house. And so we're also appealing because we've got no details. He didn't come with anything. No details, nothing. So we're also appealing to members of the public. If you are missing a relative who died on 11th November, he's in our HH mortuary.
Ms. Mashikolo has further called on churches in Zambia to help local authorities in taking up the task of burying these bodies, noting that only the Seventh-day Adventist Church has been active towards the cause.
So that's why they are abandoned. Some are abandoned by the bedside, where somebody just leaves, and as a hospital, we need to take care of them. So we take care of them. When they get better, then we involve our social workers, and we'll take them. Actually, our social workers will do a tracing. We will see how we can trace. If not, then they'll be taken up and placed in a home using community development.
She has advised relatives searching for their lost loved ones to visit the police post at the hospital, where they will be guided on the process of identifying bodies. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
The University of Zambia Student Union has challenged the government to fulfill its campaign promise of ensuring that all students benefit from the student loan and scholarship program. Unzasu Minister of Education and Academic Affairs, Josephat Nyirongo, says he is disappointed that the government has only given scholarships to 2,000 students in 2023, leaving out over 2,000 vulnerable students. Meanwhile, some of the first-year students who have been left out from the student scholarships have appealed to government to consider a second selection to allow the 2,000 students who have an opportunity to attain tertiary education. More in this report.
Viva! 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 International! International! Yani shirikwa, niyozirika,
They say education is the greatest equalizer, but for these first-year students at the University of Zambia who have been left out on the Students' Loans and Scholarship Scheme, equalization is far from being a reality as they risk not attaining tertiary education due to lack of sponsorship. Over 4,000 students applied for sponsorship during the 2022 to 2023 academic year, but only 2,000 students have been selected, leaving out about 2,018 students. Some of the affected students Tuesday morning paid a prompt visit to the University of Zambia Student Union with the hope that the union can engage the government over the matter. In tears, these students had a word of plea to the president.
Right now, because we can't manage to afford the fees. Yes, so our cry is the government. We're actually on our knees right now. We're crying to the government, please. Mr. Haka in the Hisilama, the heads of state, we're here right now. You said education is an equalizer, so we're here right now crying for the student loan.
Government, we are on our knees as appealers seeking that we should all be reconsidered. Please, the government, may you hear our cry. We are crying to you. We have no other hope, for we have lost hope. We are coming from the village, so we should not be judged because those who go 6 points, 5 points, they are coming from schools, expensive schools where they had a good learning environment.
For some of these students, this year is their last to qualify for scholarship, considering that they have been applying in the past but have been left out, and hence calling on the government to look into their plea.
The government should consider some of us, especially us who completed in 2018. Last year was our last year to apply for any loan at any institutions, because this year we are no longer eligible to apply for a loan according to their terms and conditions they adhere to.
But sadly, I was left out on the student loan. In last year, I was also left out on the student loan. But please, government, this is my last time for a student loan. I plead for you. Please, just help me. Where I come from is very bad. Youths, they are destroyed with drugs, different things, kind of stuff, group influence. Please, government, I don't want to be in such things. Please consider me.
And Unzasu Union has challenged the government to stick to its campaign promise of supporting more students in higher institutions of learning.
Increase the number of students that were awarded loans so that they can continue their education. Other key players, stakeholders, such as civil society organizations, non-government organizations, and as well as other players that can come on board, or individuals in short. Please come on board and support our vulnerable students.
They have chosen to be doctors, they have chosen to be teachers, they have chosen to be farmers, agriculturists to say, or maybe economists. So you cannot come with your point to say let them go and do what we call skill training in other facilities. That is unacceptable.
With government introducing free education from primary to secondary level, the number of pupils completing high school hoping to attain tertiary education is on the rise, and government cannot continue sponsoring the few numbers they have been selecting in the past 10 years. It is hoped that the government will find an alternative way of absorbing more students on the program if the free education policy is to really have an impact on the Zambian education sector. Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Opposition Citizens First Party President Harry Kalaba has predicted that the United Party for National Development, UPND, will fail to lower the cost of commodities in the country amidst the 12-hour load shedding schedule as the cost of doing business has risen. Speaking to Camnet News, Mr. Kalaba therefore says the decision by the current administration to cut down on electricity exports to neighboring countries should reflect in reduced hours of load shedding. Meanwhile, an energy expert, Dr. Johnston Chikwanda, says investors in the energy sector are afraid of coming to invest in the country due to non-cost reflective electricity tariffs. He has since urged the Ministry of Energy to consider increasing electricity tariffs for mines and industries over a period of 5 years to attract investors in the energy sector. More in this report.
Before a nation can boast of having good roads and other key factors of development, the welfare of its citizens is always the best indicator to determine whether it is on the right track of development. The case for Zambia, according to the United Nations UN, however, shows that over 50% of its citizens still cannot afford 3 decent meals a day, as some go to bed hungry. Reducing the cost of living and alleviating poverty was one of the main promises made by the ruling United Party for National Development, UPND. The opposition Citizens First Party has, however, predicted that reducing the cost of living for Zambian citizens will be a major challenge for the current administration amidst the current 12 hours of load shedding, as the prices of commodities are likely to go high due to an increase in the cost of doing business. Citizens First Party President Harry Kalaba was speaking to Camnet News.
Because if they had reduced, when did they sign the MOU? If they had reduced, when did they make that decision? Because as late as last week, government was adamant that they were going to continue exporting power. Now, government doesn't care about us. This government is more concerned about foreigners than ourselves as local citizens. This government doesn't care about the local citizens because for them, for as long as outsiders are happy, they are also happy. That is the problem that we have. We have seen it in the mining sector, the way they have behaved. We have seen it in the energy sector. We have seen it in all sectors. They are prioritizing people who are coming from outside and not us, the citizens of this country.
Meanwhile, an energy expert, Dr. Johnston Chikwanda, says there is need to increase electricity tariffs for mines and industries over a period of 5 years to encourage mass investment in the energy sector.
One of the things investors look at is the availability of energy. So if we do not have adequate energy in the country, definitely that can affect the extent to which you can attract investors. So there is a direct correlation to how much investment you can attract and how much energy you have in the country. That is the reason we need to come out of doldrums like this and go into energy abundance. When you are in energy abundance, it is easier to attract a lot of investment, which will unlock further jobs that we want.
He knows that it is time for the country to take aggressive steps aimed at encouraging investors in the energy sector, failure to which the energy crisis will remain unsolved in Zambia. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
The Forum for Democracy and Development, FDD President Edith Nawakwe, has alleged that the performance of the Zambian economy is at its worst under the current administration. Speaking when she made an appearance on the Camnet Television National Matters program Monday evening, Ms. Nawakwe says there is going to be a critical shortage of food in 2023, owing to the way government has handled the agricultural sector. Ms. Nawakwe says the security of the public is food in grain form and says failure by government to deliver the inputs has put the security of the country at risk. The opposition leader has since suggested to the parliamentarians to consider diverting part of the Constituency Development Fund, CDF, to buying seed for farmers in their constituencies to cover up for their failure to plant maize.
Last year, the season was opened to all and sundry. People are coming from as far as Mozambique, as far as Tanzania, to come and buy maize in the villages. So the crop is gone. What we are eating now is what FRA is releasing. There are going to be floods, there's hunger, and 2023, 2024, the harvest will be at its lowest. And therefore, when the minister says, no, we have enough reserves, it's the same thing like what has happened to the electricity sector. So overall, the performance of this economy is at its lowest. people, you can pick up the health sector, you can pick up the energy sector, the agricultural sector, the tourism, health, everything is like shut down. And what is the people's feelings? What are people feeling? You go on the street, there's depression. And that's what worries me. My major worry, and I want to emphasize this, is that there's going to be a critical shortage of food. So my suggestion is this. The president says there's constituency development funds. And instead of building a bridge, a school, let each MP use a portion of that money to urgently procure fertilizer and seed for the people in their areas. It's not just maize. This is a perfect time for planting beans. It may not be maize. Let them source for millet, sorghum, any seed, and give to our people so that our people can have some livelihood. After all, the money is in the districts.
Patriotic Front presidential hopeful Mutotwe Kafwaya has charged that the continued stay at the community house by President Hakainde Hichilema will haunt him in the future. Mr. Kafwaya has alleged that President Hichilema is doing government transaction while staying at his personal house, and his house will be searched when he hands over power to the next president. He says it is just fair that the head of state heeds calls to shift to State House. Mr. Kafwaya has challenged the government to tell the nation the cost implications of transporting President Hakainde Hichilema from the community house to State House. Mr. Kafwaya, who is also Lunte Member of Parliament, thinks that the government is spending huge sums of money on having two sets of security systems, one at the community house and the other at State House.
The president, as he is living in his personal house, is doing government transactions there. So when he hands over to the next president, how sure is the next president going to be that all government documents which will have been at that house have been transferred out? Okay? The only way is to search. Now, that is bad. That will be bad. In the process of searching, people may find things that they are not supposed to find. So I think it's just fair that the president thinks about it and heeds to the common wisdom of staying in State House. Because if you do government transaction within State House as a president, when time to leave comes, you just leave State House. You walk out and people see you walking out, isn't it? And they will know that you have gone to a private location which did not host any government business. But also, secondly, what is the cost implication, okay, of having two sets of security systems, one at the community house and the other at State House? Because be sure, State House will never be without security. It will always be secured. So what is the cost implication of transporting the president on a daily basis for those few kilometers? What is the cost implication of all those policemen who line up to his home on a daily basis? What is the morality, of doing that?
Lopula Province Minister Derek Chilundika has called for the deployment of military personnel to safeguard peace in the province ahead of the Itala ward by-elections slated for the 20th of January 2023. Speaking when United Party for National Development UPND Secretary General paid a courtesy call on him Tuesday, Mr. Chilundika has also urged residents to be alert and report any strange activity. Meanwhile, UPND Secretary General Batuke Imenda has expressed concern over reports that named political parties have already started ferrying cadres from Lusaka, stating that these should be dealt with. 4 local government by-elections are slated for the 20th of January 2023 in Wapula, Northwestern and Kasama, following the seats falling vacant in the 2022 owing to resignations of councillors in the 4 wards. 5 political parties, namely the ruling United Party for National Development UPND, the Patriotic Front, the Socialist Party and the Leadership Movement and the Major Zambia are competing for the said seats.
Against that background, I wish to advise the residents of Bunga to be very peaceful. This is just an election which should not divide us, regardless of our political affiliation. I equally encourage the residents of Lunga to identify foreign faces which might be potential violent characters, so that the police and the ZNS would help those people to ensure that they are peaceful during elections. To other participating parties, the ruling party and opposition party, I wish to instruct as minister to say, can you allow the electorates of Lunga to vote? Don't disturb them. Don't take confusion in the area. Otherwise, the law will visit you.
We will not sit back to see peace being disturbed. PF is known for using violence as a tool to win elections. Ever since we took over government, we have shown to the world that you can win an election in a civil way. And we want this pattern to continue all the way to 2026. So we appeal to the police to do their work professionally. We will not influence them to do what is illegal. Any party that brings in problems, including the UPND itself, which I serve as a Chief Executive Officer, will ensure that no cadre will bring violence in the Lunga world, which has so far shown us peace and tranquility.
The Lusaka Magistrate Court under the Fast Track Court has heard of how the Anti-Corruption Commission, SEC, received a financial intelligence report, FIC, alleging that former Home Affairs Minister Stephen Kampyongo and his wife Wanizia Chirwa had built a house in Eureka way above their earnings. Testifying in a case in which the couple is accused of corruptly acquiring property, SEC Acting Senior Investigations Officer Zangiwe Molenga told Magistrate Sylvia Munyinya that investigations he conducted and analyzed that the properties were more than their earnings. This is in a matter in which the duo is facing 11 counts of being in possession of property suspected to be proceeds of crime involving about 30 million kwacha. More in this report.
Since his arrest in 2022, former Home Affairs Minister Stephen Kampyongo has continued appearing before the Lusaka Magistrate Court on corruption-related allegations. Mr. Kampyongo, who served under the Patriotic Front administration, is being tried under the Fast Track Court, Economic and Financial Crimes.
Basically, today again we continue with the state's case. They caught two witnesses. The first court, the gentleman from Ministry of Finance, who came to speak to the emolument that Mr. and Mrs. Kampyongo collected for the period of interest between 2012 and 2021. They also then brought in one of the investigating officers who, after she testified, the court thought it fit to adjourn the matter so that we can kind of cross-examine her on the next date of hearing. So we're returning to court on the 12th to continue our cross-examination of one of the investigators, after which they said to call the last witness and will submit an request to answer. We are expectant that the court is going to make a decision that fits the evidence. We have made our own assessment of the evidence. Of course, we can't be drawing conclusions right now. We can't preempt the process. We will come and submit at the appropriate time, but we have given the state an opportunity for them to bring the witnesses, and they'll be finishing, if we follow the events correctly, we should be finishing at least on the 12th. The state will finish its case.
Earlier, the court heard of how the Anti-Corruption Commission received a financial intelligence report, FIC, alleging that Mr. Kampyongo and his wife Wanizia had built a house in Eureka way above their earnings. Acting Senior Investigations Officer at SEC, Zangiwa Mulenga, has testified that the information was lent by the Commission following a complaint it received on the 29th of February 2022, with details that a company which had contracts with the previous administration, the Patriotic Front, built flats for the accused in Lusaka's Foxdale area. In this case, the state has slapped Mr. Kampyongo, who is also Shuangando area Member of Parliament, and his wife, Wanizia Kampyongo, with 11 counts of possession of property, suspected to be proceeds of crime involving about 30 million kwacha. allegations which the duo denies. According to Mr. Mlenga, it was further alleged that Mr. Kampyongo's wife bought a house in Ibex Hill, Lusaka, costing way above her earnings, leading to him arresting the accused persons. Meanwhile, another state witness, Humphrey Sulupia, a public officer at Payroll Management and Establishment Control Department, Personal Administration Officer currently serving as Assistant Director Personnel, told the court that Mr. Kampyongo's gross payment was more than 6 million kwacha and a net payment of more than 3 million kwacha, while his wife, the gross payment is above 1 million kwacha and the net payment is above 1 million kwacha. The couple is accused of possessing various properties between the 1st of January 2012 and the 30th of September 2022. Among those, a property located in Eureka off Kafue Road valued at 11 million kwacha, a property in Ibex Hill valued at 1.6 million kwacha. The matter has been adjourned to the 12th and 13th of January 2023. Both accused persons are currently on police bond. Miriam Kaimba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
This is Camnet Television and not just another channel. We'll take our first break. We'll be back with more news after the break.
It's Bata's Back to School with a bang this January 2023. Save more kwacha with amazing slashed prices on all Taffy school shoes at Bata. Enjoy school shopping with a wide variety of assorted merchandise such as school bags and socks. Bata also has in stock white and blue school shirts for your school uniform shopping convenience. Visit your nearest Bata store countrywide and get back to school for January 2023 in magnificent Taffy style. Bata Taffys, built to last, built for life. T's and C's apply.
You know I can take her a bit.
Yes, my dear.
I was thinking of getting you a Bugatti on your birthday.
Really?
I'm quiet. My name is Yana.
Don't worry, man. That's why there is insurance.
Insurance?
You heard me.
Not just any kind of insurance, but Savenda General Insurance, a company that offers superior customer service, highly professional and dedicated staff. We are not just any insurance company, but an insurance company that actually pays our claims. We cover, among others, fire, marine, aviation, engineering, agriculture, motor vehicle, and miscellaneous insurance. So, live life to the full, knowing that Savenda General Insurance has got you covered. Savenda General Insurance. Insurance excellence.
Camnet Stars Football Club, popularly known as the local national team, is inviting all skillfully gifted, talented and creative soccer players from across Zambia. Ages between 16 and 20 must come, train and join the club. The category of these gifted footballers have the chance to go and market their talent in Europe and USA through Camnet Stars Football Club, a team formed with a vision to produce quality international players. Please do not miss this brief open opportunity given to you. Camnet Stars Football Club could be your gateway to your international soccer career. Venue, Kablonga Boys Secondary School grounds. Date 12th December 2022 to 21st January 2023. Time 09 hours to 11 hours. Your time to shine is now.
Welcome back. We continue with the news. Minister of Health Sylvia Masewo says government is keen on making sure that it unblocks barriers in the supply chain of medicines and medical supplies in 2023. Ms. Masewo says Zambia is also willing to learn from other African countries with a good supply chain in the health sector, citing Egypt as a good example. The minister said this when Egyptian ambassador to Zambia, Mu'taz Anwar, paid a courtesy call on her office this Tuesday. At the meeting, the minister welcomed the initiative of exchange programs between Zambian medical specialists and Egyptian counterparts to share knowledge in areas of need. Meanwhile, the Egyptian ambassador to Zambia, Mr. Anwar, expressed interest of strengthening bilateral cooperation in various sectors such as health. A witness has told the Lusaka Magistrate Court that a GRZ motor vehicle registration number 759CL was allocated to the office of political advisor Kaiza Zulu at State House in 2015 after it was procured by the government. Senior Inspector of Government Transport, Paul Lengwa, told the court that the motor vehicle, a Toyota Land Cruiser VX, was for use at the office. This is in a case in which Mr. Zulu, former President Edgar Lungu's political advisor, is accused of concealing a government vehicle. More in this report.
Several witnesses have continued appearing before the Lusaka's Magistrate Court to testify in a case in which former political advisor Kaiza Zulu is accused of concealing a government vehicle, Toyota Land Cruiser VX. The 52-year-old businessman who worked as a political advisor under the former Republican President Edgar Lungu has been slapped with a charge of conversion not amounting to theft, an allegation contrary to Section 291 of the Penal Code, Chapter 87 of the Laws of Zambia. The state accuses Mr. Zulu of failing to return the same government vehicle after he ceased being in public office. When the matter came up for continued trial this morning, Tuesday, Paul Lengwe, a senior inspector of government transport, testified that on March 13, 2015, a government vehicle was allocated to State House. The witness, who is in charge of procurement of government vehicles, allocating them to different ministries as well as disposing of them, says there was a procedure that was followed in procuring of the vehicles as well as allocating them to ministries. The witness further told the court that with the vehicle in question, it was allocated to the State House under the political advisor to the President's office. It was received by the transport officer who signed for it and handed him a certificate. Mr. Lengwe says he later secured the said motor vehicle at Lilai Police Training College on the 19th of December 2022, where it is still parked to date. He also told the court that the motor vehicle in question had been involved in a road traffic accident. At this point, the state applied to have the case adjourned to the 3rd of February 2023 to enable it to prepare for a scene visit where the vehicle is parked. Miriam Kaimba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
In an effort to improve agricultural production and productivity and also unblock prospects in all sectors, government through the Ministry of Finance has disbursed over 14 million kwacha towards key infrastructure development in Nansanga Farm Block of Serenje District. Speaking during the National District Stakeholder Engagement Meeting for Nansanga Farm Block, Central Province Permanent Secretary Meuna Mwanakampwe has disclosed that government during the 2022 budget allocated 110 million kwacha, of which 14.7 million kwacha has been disbursed to recapitalize the farming block.
In an effort to improve agriculture production and productivity and also unlock prospects in all sectors, government through the Ministry of Finance has disbursed over 14 million kwacha towards key infrastructure development in Nansanga Farm Block of Serenje District.
The new Dawn administration is ready to partner with us. The government disbursed 14.7 million last year for the development of key infrastructure in the Nansanga Farm Block against the allocation of 110 million. In addition, preliminary activities of land audit have already started and extensive works shall be done in the first quarter of this year.
The Permanent Secretary says this disbursement reaffirms government commitment to a strategic focus of unlocking all sectors of the economy with the aim of returning the country to the trajectory of its 2030 vision of becoming a prosperous middle-income nation.
The strategic focus of the new Dawn administration under the leadership of His Excellency President Hakainde Hichilema in the medium term is to unlock all sectors of the economy with the aim of becoming a prosperous middle-income nation by the year 2030.
Government considers Farm Block Development Program as a vehicle to stimulate development in agriculture, and Nansanga Farm Block is expected to attract external markets for agro-produce.
Government considers Farm Block Development Programs as a vehicle to stimulate development in the agriculture sector. Under this program, Nansanga Farm Block is expected to embark on mechanized farming, increase production, value addition, and extracting external market for the agro produce.
And speaking area, Serenji Chairperson Stavius Mulumba expressed happiness that finally,
I think as a district team, we are very happy today that this IDC is now just come to the starting point, especially that it's now being, we have started actualizing it, especially we have started with at a good note with a good idea of first start meeting. I think what I can inform the House is that the Nasan we're talking about, it's a land that we depend as Serenji and as a government in terms of development.
Reporting for Nais in Serenji District of Central Province, I'm Moses Nyati.
This is Camnet Television News. We'll take a second and final break. We'll be back with the international and sports news.
In our quest to save nations and develop Africa, Savenda is investing in the agriculture sector so as to produce supply for both local and international markets, housing over 12,000 pullets that are nurtured and fed with our locally made stock feed that comes from our own locally grown maize and soya beans, all processed from our recently installed milling and mixing plant. Our over 95,000 layers have an output capacity of over 1,500 trays of fresh eggs per day that are carefully selected and packaged for all the leading stores and supermarkets nationwide. Our greenhouses are fitted with the latest irrigation system, and the seedlings are nurtured to ensure only healthy plants reach the fields. With our deliberate planting schedule, we are better placed to supply constantly without interruption, thus reliable. Savenda Farms is also changing lives of its dedicated workforce drawn from the local community and beyond. So the next time you think fresh and green, think Savenda Farms.
Your skin is the biggest muscle in your body. That's why we make sure that Oracle is #1 when it comes to taking care of your precious skin. Oracle Pure Petroleum Jelly and Glycerin soothes, moisturizes, and keeps your skin perfect. Oracle Pure Petroleum products for that perfect skin.
It's Bata's back to school with a bang this January 2023. Save more kwacha with amazing slashed prices on all Taffy's school shoes at Bata. Enjoy school shopping with a wide variety of assorted merchandise such as school bags and socks. Bata also has in stock white and blue school shirts for your school uniform shopping convenience. Visit your nearest Bata store countrywide and get back to school for January 2023 in magnificent Taffy style. Bata Taffys, built to last, built for life. T's and C's apply.
Camnet Stars Football Club, popularly known as the local national team, is inviting all skillfully gifted, talented and creative soccer players from across Zambia. Ages between 16 and 20 must come, train and join the club. The category of these gifted footballers have the chance to go and market their talent in Europe and USA through Camnet Stars Football Club, a team formed with a vision to produce quality international players. Please do not miss this brief open opportunity given to you. Camnet Stars Football Club could be your gateway to your international soccer career. Venue, Kablonga Boys Secondary School grounds. Date 12th December 2022 to 21st January 2023. Time 09 hours to 11 hours. Your time to shine is now.
Welcome back, and in international news, a Moroccan appeals court increased the sentences of 13 migrants by 6 months to 3 years over a deadly attempted crossing into the Spanish enclave of Melilla, their lawyer said on Monday, January 9. Around 2,000 people, many of them Sudanese, stormed the frontier on June 24 in a bid to reach Spanish territory across one of the European Union's 2 land borders with Africa. At least 23 people died. The court in Nador, a northeastern town near the border with Melilla, increased the sentences of a group of migrants by 6 months, taking them to 3 years in prison each, lawyer Mbarek Borig revealed. Here's a roundup of international news for more.
Senegal on Monday announced a raft of measures to improve road safety after a bus crash killed dozens on Sunday. Following a meeting with transporters and drivers, Prime Minister Amadou Ba announced a ban on night bus trips. Buses carrying passengers will be prohibited from the country's highways between 11 p.m. and 5 a.m. Other measures include a ban on the importation of second-hand tires and a strict enforcement of speed limits. Goods and passenger service vehicles are capped at 90 kilometers per hour. Authorities have said the bus at the center of the Sunday disaster suffered a burst tire before swerving and colliding with oncoming traffic. Buses, many of which travel at night from region to region, are one of the main means of transportation in Senegal and cause many accidents. Road accidents are common in Senegal, largely because of driver error, poor roads and decrepit vehicles, according to experts.
A Moroccan appeals court increased the sentences of 13 migrants to 3 years over a deadly attempted crossing into the Spanish enclave of Melilla. Their lawyers added on Monday that his clients were accused of charges including participation in a criminal gang of clandestine immigration. Around 2,000 people stormed the fence in June last year in a bid to reach Spanish territory. Over 20 died.
Nigeria's election could be cancelled or postponed if the current level of insecurity persists in the country, the Electoral Commission warned on Monday. Nigerians are due to choose a successor to President Muhammadu Buhari, a new National Assembly and state governors in late February, but a militant insurgency in the northeast, separatist tensions in the south, and a spate of kidnappings in central and north have election officials worried. At a meeting in Abuja, one of the Election Commission's top chiefs warned that failure to hold polling in one area due to insecurity could affect the tallying and announcement of election results, leading to a constitutional crisis. Nigeria's past elections have not gone without controversy. In 2019, Atiku Abubakar, the loser in the presidential contest, ran to court seeking to overturn the results after alleging fraud. His appeal was dismissed.
It's now time for sports news. And now in sports news, Melbourne Victory have been given a suspended 10-point deduction after crowd trouble during their A-League match with Melbourne City in December. Any incident of serious supporter misconduct until the end of the 2025-2026 season will trigger the deduction. The game was abandoned after a pitch invasion during the first half. Some fans ran onto the pitch while referee Alex King and City goalkeeper Tom Glover suffered facial cuts after being hit by a metal bucket. Victory have also been fined 450,000 Australian dollars. The club have also been banned from selling tickets for the area of the ground from which the fans invaded the pitch. In addition, Victory fans will not be able to attend away games for the rest of the season, which is estimated will cost the club a further 100,000 Australian dollars. They were initially banned from selling tickets for home games until 15 January, pending further investigations by Football Australia. To end Camnet Television main news, we take a look at stories making headlines once again. Floods cut off residents of MUMBWA'S KANDESHA area. Effect cost-reflective electricity tariffs to attract more investors, government advised. SEC investigations officer tells court that former Home Affairs Minister Stephen Kampyongo was in possession of property way above his earnings. In international news, Morocco increases jail term of migrants by 6 months. And in sports news, Melbourne Victory given suspended points deduction following pitch invasion. We now look at the Camnet verse of the day, which is coming from 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 5. For we do not preach ourselves, but Jesus Christ as Lord, and ourselves as your servants for Jesus' sake. Thank you once again for watching Camnet Television Main News. I'm Jeffrey Ziambo. Bye-bye.